report by stopping by bradblog.com/donate.
Why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step. I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bets. Cause we know who we are, we know we top tier. Cause all the hate that you bring, we know it stops here. I'm taking off like a rocket here and stopping here. It's strange how they cannot see the future, but see profit here. Wait up, we gon' always win. Hello, I can't take no loss. My team hold no L's, no. Aiming for the top, can't make it by myself.
Yes. Brett breaks things. Welcome back. Pleasure to have you guys with me. Pleasure. Super excited. We got a bunch of stuff to get to today. I'm going to go into a little bit more of a rapid fire style today because it's a bunch of stories. A lot of it's updates, all good stuff, especially concerning the ACA, where the shutdown is heading, who's going to get hurt. We're going to take a little closer look at some people that are getting hurt, examples of what this ACA subsidy expiring is going to do to people. Trump's in Asia on a 3-country tour. We got a lot of stuff to get to. Some good news on some of his deployment stuff, the pushback, the fight, it's still going on. We had a longer show yesterday, just about double. And the second hour was all break free. You guys really appreciated that. We're going to be doing that more and more as we go forward. I promise you we'll be doing along tomorrow, Friday, because tomorrow we are off. I still have, other work scheduling that we just could not avoid. Hey, donate and ease the pressure that forces Scotty and I to do other things that are unavoidable during times when we should be doing this show. Donating would go a long way to that cause, but we're going to be off tomorrow. Nothing we can do to avoid it, but we will be back Friday with a longer show. I enjoy doing the longer shows when it's possible. I enjoyed it a lot on Wednesday, so did you guys, so we're going to try to do that more and more as we go forward. So I did want to warn you that. I'll warn you again as we get deeper into the show. The shutdown. There's been 13 votes in the Senate on this clean resolution by the Republicans. Obviously, this particular portion of the standoff has got to evolve if we're ever going to open up again. Does Trump ever want us to open up again? I have my doubts. I do. He has been afforded so much power during these shutdowns, power that Russ Vought has been drooling over since he took the position of OMB director in this second term. It's what he laid out in Project 2025. We all saw it coming, and now it's playing out. In March, the resolution that they came up with handed Trump more power, which is why the Democrats were so against it, so upset with Chuck Schumer. He's not going to make that mistake again. They've talked about trying to get some of that power back. That seems like a far and distant goal now. As the Republicans have not been flinching much at all, the Dems have narrowed down their goal in this fight to the ACA subsidies. They've really narrowed it down. They'd love to bring some of the foreign aid back. They'd love to claw some of his power over the budget back. Those don't seem to be in the mix anymore. Right now, it's really focused on the ACA subsidies. But there have been other votes. There are these things called rifle shot bills that are starting to get introduced. And now both sides are starting to do it. I described to you that the Republicans and John Thune in the Senate have proposed a couple bills to pay the TSA and air traffic controllers and to pay the military. And I told you that Ossoff and Warnock, along with Fetterman, went along with the Republicans on those bills. But I said, hey, although that is a definite hairline fracture in the resolve of the Democrats, because anything that gets passed weakens their position, you can't really fault them if what they're saying is, look, we're hanging tight on the ACA, but we feel that the TSA workers and the air traffic controllers, they need to get paid so we can get the airs unclogged. We can get the delays to stop, the cancellations to stop, and we need to pay our military. That's what they're saying. And it's hard to just say, wrong, bad, don't do that, when, if taken at face value, their goals are admirable, paying these people, trying to ease the shutdown in any way they can. But the fact remains, it weakens the resolve, even just by a little bit. it weakens the Democrats' resolve. Those bills didn't pass, and now the Democrats are up to that little trick. They are trying to specifically pass a bill to fund SNAP. It's just the first of many that they're going to try to get passed. Schumer, he says, hey, we're going to do, what they did. And we're going to introduce a clean, standalone bill, nothing attached, just fund SNAP. Fund SNAP. 42 million people. 42 million get SNAP benefits. So the Republicans are trying their rifle shot bills clean with just the funding for what they're targeting, TSA, air traffic controllers, military, and the Democrats are doing it too. It's a little bit of maneuvering and a little bit more gamesmanship in terms of the optics. In terms of the optics. If it gets to the, American public that the Republicans, aside from all of their differences, are trying to pay the military and TSA, and the Democrats are shooting it down, that looks bad for the Democrats. It's tough to explain on the heels of a vote like that. It's about the bigger picture. We can't weaken our resolve. We can't weaken our stance to get what we really need. So that's why we're not voting for it. It gives the Republicans leverage. Go ahead and explain that to every single average, everyday American voter. It's much easier for the Republicans to explain, we tried to pay the military, the Dems didn't vote for it. That's nice and simple. It's clean. So here comes the Democrats. And they rush to the SNAP first, but there'll be more. There'll be more. There'll be bills to pay the furloughed workers. There'll be bills to, pay severance for some of these fired workers. There'll be bills to fund some other of the Democrat agencies that Trump promised he would cut first. Remember that meeting with Russ Vought where they talked about specifically ending Democrat programs? Well, a lot of those Democrat programs are programs that help the American people. And so expect a few of these rifle shot bills to come from the Democrats. First, they're starting with SNAP. Nice and clean. Fund SNAP. Go ahead, Republicans. Vote against it. Let's see you do it. Because then they can play that game as well. Hey, we tried to give you your SNAP benefits. We tried to send you your food stamps. The Republicans voted no. Nice and simple. Nice and clean. Easy message. Easy to digest for everyone. So the gamesmanship has begun. The gamesmanship has begun with these rifle shot bills in the Senate. Can't do it in the House because Mike Johnson won't open the House. Won't open the House. Opening the House, allows Grijalva to be sworn in and become the 218th signature on Massey and Khanna's discharge petition to give us all the evidence on Epstein. That's one problem. But the other reason, all the pressure's on the Senate. We don't have to negotiate with the House Democrats. We don't have to go run to the president for approval in negotiations. We don't have to bring anybody's bill to the floor. We're not in session. All the pressure of paying people, unclogging the jams in the air traffic, SNAP, all these things, all that pressure falls squarely on the Senate. They're the ones that failed to pass anything now. All the attention's on the Senate. The House is off. No pressure. That's Mike Johnson, a little snake. That's his game. That's his game. So it's all on the Senate. And that's what they're doing now. Gamesmanship. None of it has a real chance of passing. None of it does. Of these rifle shots. We'll see. I could be wrong about that. But I expect party lines almost all the way down every time. No matter who proposes the bill. No matter who brings it to pay who. Whom. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So the shutdown is marching forward. SNAP, 42 million people. 42 million people will cease to get their SNAP benefits, their food stamps. Already the government has told the states, if you accept food stamps right now, we will not guarantee you get your money from us. The federal assistance has stopped. So you can take those food stamps if you want, but you're not going to get reimbursed by us. And as well, on November 1st, no more food stamps are coming out. No more SNAP benefits at all. That's one big, big, big problem, which is why Schumer is using it in the gamesmanship. All right, that's one reason. For sure. What else is immediately going to take a large effect? Head Start. I talked about the cuts in the Department of Education. Most of the cuts centered around people who are unable or have problems with the school system, unable to get there, unable to get the classes they need, or people who have disabilities or any type of difficulty gaining a traditional education in any way. The programs that facilitated their education has ended. Those were the first things cut. After Linda McMahon in February said, hey, what the one thing we are worried about, we are concerned about, involved in here at the Department of Education is making sure these underprivileged people, these people with needs, get their education. We need more money for that. That's what she said in February. Linda, you are feckless. You have no sway in this administration. You are a joke of a place marker. You were just put there because you're innocuous. You are just somebody who will sit there and not make any waves, not demand anything, not make any headlines. You're a joke. And allegedly an abuser of children, which is the sick joke about her having influence over so many children's lives right now. But that's for another show. So 65,000 students who receive assistance through any of the Head Start's programs, they will not be able to make it to school. If they needed any assistance provided to them from Head Start, no more school, no school for them. That starts November 1st. LIHEAP. Many of you are familiar with LIHEAP, Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. Yep. $3.6 billion in funding for LIHEAP. Done. Not going to be released. We're in a shutdown. We can't afford it. We can't move money. No LIHEAP assistance, right? No LIHEAP assistance. 5 million homes currently receive assistance through LIHEAP. It's estimated that 21.5 million households right now are behind on their energy bills in some way. And now with LIHEAP gone, they're going to get their power turned off. We're heading into winter. Obviously, people who take advantage of LIHEAP here in Florida, they are not facing the reality that people in northern states are now about to face. No heating, no electric. Hopefully they can beg a family member or somebody to pay their bills for them, because that's the only way they're going to get them paid. If you needed LIHEAP to pay your bills and LIHEAP disappears, that's it. You're going to choose between what? Your mortgage and your energy bills? Your car payment or your electric? Make your choice. Make your choice, because that's the choice you're going to have to make. 21.5 million homes currently behind on their energy bills. 5 million currently receiving help from LIHEAP. Who knows what that number would have been had they stayed open for the next year? Certainly an increase. Certainly. SNAP. Let's talk a little bit about SNAP. Now, here's the thing about SNAP. SNAP has a reserve. Billions in reserve money that they could be tapping into. Friday, the Trump administration said, no, can't move that money around. We can't provide that. Sorry, we're in a shutdown. They declined to use the emergency funding to keep SNAP running. Declined. So, more than 24 states have sued the Trump administration this week. Friday, Trump said not doing it. Tuesday, dozen states sued him. Dozen states sued him, asking for a judgment right now. Right now, they want a judgment on this. About $8 billion is spent on SNAP. Yeah. About $8 billion. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot of people not getting their benefits. And it's not just the Democrats who want this done. Republicans do as well. I mean, we're talking about states. I mean, look, Arizona, California, Massachusetts, Colorado, Illinois, Kentucky, Maine, Maryland, Nevada, and North Carolina. Those weren't all blue states I just named. Nope. They weren't all blue states. There were red states as well that are suing the Trump administration. Suing them. District of Columbia is on that as well. They went for the district court for the District of Massachusetts. The U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts is where this is being decided. Indira Talwani is the judge who is deciding it. Obama appointee. She has the power to force the Trump administration to use the emergency funds and keep SNAP open. Okay? There has been a request to use that. They denied the request. Miss Talwani can force the Trump administration to use the reserve funds to keep it open longer. And these states are asking for a decision right now. Right now. And Letitia James is one of the U.S. district attorneys who are attached to this. She said, yeah, that Letitia James, while she's fighting for her life, while she's defending her freedom from this administration, she's also fighting for you and me. SNAP is one of our nation's most effective tools to fight hunger, and the USDA has the money to keep it running. There is no excuse for this administration to abandon families who rely on SNAP or food stamps as a lifeline. And I said, red states are in on this too, right? Well, their district attorney in North Carolina, although the state is red, their DA is a Democrat, and he is a part of this lawsuit. He said at a news conference that nonprofits would not be able to pick up the slack. He described the actions of the Trump administration as a deliberate participation of a major hunger crisis. Those are strong words. Strong words. The White House isn't giving any comments on this. They declined to comment. But the Agriculture Department, they didn't give a comment, but they referred to their website. And on their website, it says, bottom line, the well has run dry, and this time there will be no benefits issued on November 1st. The well has run dry. Glib little statement for you if you go wondering where your food stamps are. The well has run dry. The statement went on and attacked the Democrats like all the other statements have from the official websites of these government agencies. Very classless move by this administration. Speaking of classless, there's governors out here who know the hardship that this will impose on their citizens, like Honey Boo Boo. Yeah, my naughty little Quaker, Huckabee Sanders. What did she say? We'll continue to look at every option we have to take care of people in our state. But ultimately, the thing that makes the most sense and is by far not only the best solution, but should be happening because it's their responsibility, is to have the Senate Democrats quit playing games and fund our government. Straight to the party line, straight to the spin. Honey Boo Boo, in the face of all of those people in her state losing SNAP, goes straight to the party line. It's pathetic.
It's time for a quick break, then we break some more. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things. Now back to Brett Breaks Things, smashing spin, silencing the noise, and keeping it all facts, no fluff.
So, Democrats and Republicans, they're starting to come together. The House Dems and the House Republicans are starting to come together a little bit. They're coming together a little bit on the SNAP. They're coming together a little bit on the ACA subsidies. There's little pockets of these House Dems and Republicans that are getting together because they're facing races that hinge on what happens here, how long the shutdown lasts, what happens with their voters' SNAP benefits, their ACA coverage, what happens to them is going to affect what happens to these reps, period. So some of them are starting to come to the president, to Mike Johnson. Some of them are begging Mike Johnson, hey, you got to do something. We got to reopen this so we can pass something. We have to do something about these SNAP benefits. We have to do something about these ACA subsidies. The pressure is mounting, and it's going to affect us. You're going to lose support. You're going to lose seats if we don't address this. I understand there's a party line here that needs to be adhered to, but we are going to lose our seats if we don't do something to help the people in our districts, period. Period. One of the most vocal voices from the right has been Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been one of the more polarizing figures since she's entered the House, and that is putting it lightly. And, she started being as being one of the most radical, insane, and steadfast supporters of Trump's administration and all of his policies and anything that comes out of his mouth and any decision he decided to make. But that has been changing. That has been changing. She didn't like the strikes in Iran. She didn't like the conflict in Gaza and the blind support for Israel in this out of the Trump administration. She didn't like that. She does not like the Jeffrey Epstein situation. She does not like that the FBI and the DOJ are sitting on evidence, obscuring things, delaying things, protecting pedophiles. She doesn't like that. She's talked about all of these things recently over the last year and a half. She's talked about all of it. Well, it all came to a head over this ACA issue. There was a conference call with Republican leaders. Mike Johnson was on the call. Green was on the call. Others were on the call. And she let him have it. She let it rip. Leave it to her to be the most extreme of any constituency in the House, right? And the one she's representing right now are the people who are going to get hurt by the ACA subsidies ending. So there are some other Republicans saying things, but not like Marjorie Taylor Greene says things. That's for sure. That's for sure. She ripped into her fellow Republicans. Ripped into them. And it coincides with the window shopping period of the ACA plans opening up. 30 of the 50 states use the federal ACA exchange for their residents to get into Obamacare. 30. 20 states have their own exchange to have their residents sign up for Obamacare. But the 30 who use the federal exchange, their window has opened up. And we're going to get into that. But this is what spurned this dressing down by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay? And she said a lot of things. I'm just going to let you know what she said. And just know that she represents some people on the right, people in the House, maybe some in the Senate that aren't quite as bold and won't come out and say these things. But she does represent more than herself when she says these things. She said, I have no respect for the House not being in session, passing our bills and the president's executive orders. And I demand to know from Speaker Johnson what the Republicans' plan for health care is. Goes right at Johnson, who's on the call. Goes right at the fact that he won't open the House back up. And you know why? First of all, she's so fired up about that right there because she doesn't care about the 218th signature going onto the discharge petition. She's in favor of it. She wants that discharge petition signed. She wants Grijalva sworn in so she can sign it. So that's the first thing she went right at Johnson. Maybe others won't do that. Others will toe the party line, but she went right at him. She argued that Republicans' shutdown strategy has angered the American people and hurt Trump's popularity. She is ardent on one point. She's steadfast on one point. She wants to get rid of the filibuster in the Senate. She wants to make it a simple majority. And the Senate isn't down. Johnson's not down for that. He tried to, defend himself. Others aren't down for that. And it's because they're afraid the Dems will take back the Senate or take the House and the Senate and use it against them. They don't want to hand over that kind of power to the Democrats if they should lose the majority. That is why they won't get rid of the filibuster. That is why they are shutting down Marjorie Taylor Greene's requests. She's saying we could open up the government right now, get rid of the filibuster, make it a simple majority, pass your clean resolution, and we're done here. They won't do that. They won't do that. So she ripped into him. She ripped into him over the ACA coverage, which is skyrocketing. And it's twofold, okay? It's twofold. These customers, these people who want to go and re-enroll with the ACA are getting sticker shock right now. They looked at these prices and they are freaking out because not only are the plans across the board going to raise about 26%, anywhere from 18 to 26 is what they're theorizing. The plans themselves, they're rising. And the subsidies are going away. Boom, gone. And people are in absolute shock. Absolute shock. Okay? They're estimating, the 24 million who enrolled last year, they were looking at more enrolling. That's not going to be the case now. Now millions are going to go without because they simply cannot afford it. And we've got some examples of some everyday people that are going to be hurt by this, all right? Here's some examples of some people who took a look at the sticker price and are getting the shock. There's one, Jessica Berger, okay? She went to look at her plan. She was paying about $250 last year. The same plan will now cost her $1,100. She said, I was sick to my stomach. I've never felt so powerless in my life. She has an eye condition. She has to have coverage. In a couple years, she's going to have a surgery to prevent total blindness. Who knows now? Who knows? Chad and Tara Smith, they are in Idaho. They paid about $300 a month together. Now it's going to be around $1,300 a month. They can't pay it. I'm just kind of dumbfounded why it's going up so much. It's a huge jump. A huge jump. There's Clint and Cindy Cottrell out of Oregon. This one is heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. They've been paying about $300 a month for their plan. They will be paying around $2,500 a month for the exact same plan. Clint has muscular dystrophy, and Cindy requires regular injections just to walk. And they are not eligible for any additional federal assistance because the combination of their pension and Social Security are too high to qualify for any other federal assistance. So they're going to go from $300 a month and the treatment for their muscular dystrophy and the shots to be able to walk to $2,500 a month. These are just a few examples. Clint said, we can't afford that premium. There's no way. There's no way. Who knows what they can afford? They were paying $305, living their life in relative health as best as they could. Now the whole thing's up in the air. Trump administration's out here touting the premiums aren't what you think they are. They're so much better than the COVID era premiums. And there's still going to be people who are out here able to afford $50 a month plans. The truth of the matter is the average American enrolled in ACA was paying $888 a month. Now, the average American enrolled in the ACA will be paying $1,900 a month. That is the truth, Mr. President.
We'll be back to break it all down. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things. You're back with Brett Breaks Things, where the truth hits harder than the headlines.
Okay. Now we're going to do a little bit of a fun one. Because this administration, it's not just lying to us in the things they say. They just can't help but be deceptive and just untruthful in so many aspects of what they're doing. Now we're going to look at a whole bunch of videos that they've been posting touting the greatness of their immigration policy, okay? It's pretty crazy how much traction their videos get on social media. I mean, their videos get more traction than news reports about the video. Like learning about what they are, they grab people's attention on the right, and they get all these. I mean, there was one of the news reports from Chicago, which was not Chicago. It got 1.4 million views on Instagram and TikTok. Like they are all in on this wing, this arm of their propaganda, is putting these videos out, swaggering montages, okay? And they label the videos stuff like battle for the soul of our nation, working night and day to arrest, detain, and deport vicious criminals from our nation's capital. A lot of it, they are misrepresenting happening in Washington. But so many of them, misrepresent is a light term. They are taking footage from other places, other times, and other actions, and depicting it as happening right now in specific cities. It's really, really misleading. It is quintessential propaganda, and it's been building and building and building, and I wanted to kind of highlight the ridiculous nature of what they're doing. DHS is trolling. Just know this. DHS is trolling. They're trolling the left. They're trying to rile people up. They're ginning their base up. So the Washington Post did a little bit of trolling itself. The Washington Post trolled them back. The Washington Post went and tracked down where all these videos were actually from, and even got interviews with some of the people who took the footage, who were very surprised to learn what their video had been appropriated as, what they're using it as, the disingenuous nature with which their footage is being shown. Yeah, the Washington Post did great reporting on this, and it's hilarious. Now, they went and they tracked down where these videos were from. You know, we'll tell you where they said they're from, the DHS, and where they're actually from and when. Now, it is important to know, the Post went, and first they went to the DHS, and they said, hey, here's all these misleading videos you've been putting out. Do you have any comment? First, Tricia McLaughlin, who we've heard from before, releasing statements from the DHS. She said she did not dispute the errors or explain what had happened, but said the videos were a small percentage of more than 400 that the agency had posted this year. Violence and rioting against law enforcement is unacceptable regardless of where it occurs. So then the Post went and trolled the White House itself. And of course, noted degenerate and liar Abigail Jackson, one of the White House spokespeople, she was quick to address it. Now, this really upset me. She didn't comment on the errors, but she said the Trump administration will continue to highlight the many successes of the president's agenda through engaging content and banger memes on social media. Banger memes. That's coming out of the White House. Banger memes. Trying to be relevant or hip or something. I mean, 7 years ago, ask not what your country can do for you. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. We're putting banger memes on social media. That's where we're at. Just so we're clear, that's where we're at. So they don't really want to comment on this, but let's take a look. Let's take a look at some of the videos that they're talking about. And don't forget, I mean, millions of views on this. Millions of views. Here's the first one. Here's the first one. This one is from, they said it's from LA. Or DC, I'm sorry. They said it's from DC. This one was actually in West Palm Beach, Florida. Let's take a look at that. So there's the arrest being made. On the left is what they say, right? And it's got little captions, and they're excited about their propaganda. On the right is where it's actually from. So that first one is the DHS claim that they're in Washington, D.C. It was actually West Palm Beach, Florida. West Palm, right here, my hometown. Another one that was supposed to be in Washington, D.C. They're trying to portray Washington as this crime-ridden war zone that they are cleaning up. They are making it safe. So we have to manufacture incidences of making it safe because there is no war zone. So if there's no war zone, we have to manufacture one. This one, they said was Washington, D.C. It's actually an ice raid on Nantucket in Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. Unbelievable. Now, this next one, is this the video? This one's the video? Yeah, this one's great. So this guy, Ford Fisher, he's a videographer, okay? And he was scrolling through Twitter, X, earlier this month, and he saw his video that he shot in an ice facility in Illinois. He saw it used as a propaganda video against Portland, saying that this is Portland. Portland's a war zone. He saw his own video. He shot this. He shot that in Illinois and was very surprised to find out that the administration, after cropping his watermark out, right? They made it a little larger to crop his watermark out and then said it's Oregon. That's all. We're just going to do that now. We're just going to do that. Those of you on the left, just know that they think you're idiots. Remember, we talked about this. Those of you on the right, I apologize. Just know that they think you're idiots. This isn't for us. This isn't for those of you watching this program and myself. That's not who these are for. These are for people on the right, to show the veracity of our immigration policy, how tough we are, how successful we are. Look how tough and successful we are detaining people. We're just going to show you whatever, assume you don't care or don't know or don't have access to the facts, and just eat this up. We tell you it's this, you believe it's this. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not this, it's that. It's not what they're telling you it is. It's something completely different. Just know on the right, they think you're absolutely stupid and have no access to facts whatsoever. There's another one. Memphis has been a big target. Right? It's the only red state that's suffering this particular injustice at the moment. Memphis is under siege by DHS, and they're trying to say that the people in Memphis love this action. They love what's going on. They want to thank the administration for cracking down in their town. They can't get enough, is what the administration is going to tell you, and they're going to show you videos like this. This is still shot out of Memphis, they'll tell you. No, that's Illinois again. And it's just routine footage at an ICE facility. Like just routine footage, not like a big crackdown or operation, just routine shots of ICE and CPB, in formation, in maneuvers, just not really doing anything. But that's not they'll just tell you whatever. We'll just lie to you. Doesn't matter. We'll just lie to you. And don't forget, Chicago is in chaos. It's in chaos. Remember? Don't forget that. Burning, murders all day, every day. Hundreds of guns being pulled off the streets. That's what they'll tell you. And they'll show you pictures. This is a picture of, ICE on maneuvers in Chicago, claiming they need help. That's what that one says. See that down there? They need help badly. Meaning, we need the National Guard in here. Specifically, the National Guard from Texas. That was from Texas. That picture was from Texas. And they used other pictures when describing Chicago. They used pictures from South Carolina, Nebraska, California, Arizona. Some of the pictures they used were from Joe Biden's time in office. Unbelievable. And not just in the past, Biden's administration. He's using past pictures from his own first administration, like this one. They're saying this happened just now during Trump's second term. We've got these awesome shots of DHS and ICE doing their thing. It's actually from the first Trump administration. It's pathetic. And then they're showing you, off the coast of Blue New York, we're doing hardcore crackdowns on the ports and in the waters off New York. Big time. It's a pathway for communities decimated by immigrants, illegals coming in, flooding in through New York. Well, actually, it's international waters. It's not even New York. International, not even U.S. It's national waters. One of the videos from Chicago actually had a palm tree in it. Pritzker, never missing an opportunity, JB, he joked about it. He said, Chicago isn't known for its palm trees, and kind of mocked the whole deal on social media. So you're just getting lied to. They won't explain it to you. Now, John Cohen, he's a gentleman who was a former DHS official, and he worked on federal law enforcement and intelligence under both Democratic and Republican administrations. This guy, John Cohen. We're going to hear from him real quick on this. He said that the mix of misleading and polarizing content could weaken the administration's ability to build trust with the American public long term. And he talks about actual effects of this kind of propaganda. Listen, this is interesting. He said during his time in government, law enforcement and security officials worked to ensure that any message or content we are putting out was absolutely accurate, fearing misleading information would push people to start tuning them out during national emergencies. If people come to believe that what you're saying is inaccurate or not based on an objective evaluation of a threat or emergency situation, they're not going to pay attention and they're not going to listen to you. The goal of law enforcement organization should be to de-escalate. And the way you de-escalate is by providing accurate information. This administration is absolutely not interested in de-escalation, Mr. Cohn. It is the exact opposite of what their messaging is intended to do, what their propaganda is intended to do. This federal troop movement, it all hinges on Title 10. It all hinges on Trump's ability to enforce law, right? And he's going to put anything on social media that makes you, the people, think regular law enforcement is impossible. Federal law enforcement is becoming impossible. Look at the chaos. That's what they're trying to impart upon the American people. Chaos. Oregon's burning. Chicago's in chaos. Trump needs full control. He needs the Insurrection Act. We need to discard posse comitatus because this is an emergency. That is what he needs to convince you of. It's not the truth, but they're trying.
Breaking politics, breaking narratives, breaking news. You're back with Brett Breaks Things, where the truth hits harder than the headlines.
So, Scotty and I were talking about the bacon. By the way, we're going to be off tomorrow. We're going to go a little long today, I think. We're going to be off tomorrow, and then we'll go long Friday. So, again, we apologize for what happened Monday. Tomorrow's completely unavoidable. We'll go hard next week. Regular week next week, we're going to go hard. Little late today, little late tomorrow is the plan. Now, and if anything you do donation-wise, I know I ask for a reason. Trust me. I ask for a reason. Anything you can do at all is greatly appreciated. The donations that we have gotten, just overwhelmed in gratitude. Every time I get a donation, it's honestly overwhelming. So thank you so much. And just go to brettbreaksthings.com. You can put it in the Google. If you have a hard time with the URL for whatever reason, just go to Google. Brett Breaks Things comes right up. Just hit the donate button. It's that simple. So Scotty and I were talking about it at the break. It's all about trying to convince regular Americans so there's little pushback as possible when the Insurrection Act is evoked. Right? And they're trying to convince regular Americans. If you're an American who does a little bit of digging and wants a little bit of extra context with your political news, then you quickly find out the truth of the matter, which is there is no emergency. Washington, D.C., San Francisco, and Chicago have all had lows in crime year over year since, for about 5 or 6 years. All three of them have had a dip in crime year over year. Some of them record lows. Trump is trying to picture these cities as chaos. They're on fire. It is impossible to execute federal law enforcement. He needs the Insurrection Act. He needs to blow by posse comitatus. He needs to put troops in every single city to squelch this crime emergency. That is the goalpost. That's where he needs to get to. And he has to do everything he can to convince you. He's also doing everything he can to convince the military. Where's Trump now? He's on a 3-country tour of Asia. Right now, he's in Tokyo. He spoke to troops on the USS George Washington, which just darkly ironic that the president who's trying to use our military as his private army is giving a speech to military members about his deployment of troops and his use of troops on a boat named after a guy who handed the army back to the people. I do wonder if Trump's aware of the perverted irony of this. I do wonder. I wonder if anybody's bothered to explain it to him. Hey, while you're trying to federalize troops and use our army and our military as a personal toy, blowing people up in Venezuela, sitting troops in Washington, D.C. and Chicago, as you're doing this, it flies directly in the face of what George Washington stood for, right, sir? You're doing the exact opposite. You are the antithesis of George Washington. Has anybody tried to explain that to him? There's no way he gets it, right? There's no way he understands that. So has anybody tried to explain it to him? Because if somebody has and they got through, then this is a cruel joke. It's a spit right in our eye. Nevertheless, he is in Tokyo. He met with the Japanese Prime Minister, Sanae Takichi, who is I think she's the first woman prime minister in Japan's history. She is. They met. Now, you might have seen some video of this, of him wandering around like a doddering old man, literally lost in this palace. And this little old Japanese woman is grabbing his hand, taking him where he needs to go. Yeah, Jake, you're taking notes, right? You know, Jake Tapper wrote that clever little book about the cognitive failures of Biden. Boy, I hope you're taking notes, Jake. I'd really like to see a sequel. I'd really like to see a follow-up book as scathing and detailed in Trump's cognitive failings. And if you are writing that book, there needs to be a chapter on his visit to Tokyo. I mean, this little old Japanese lady is literally holding this man and guiding him where he needs to go as he's literally looking around, wandering. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. They were there for a reason. He approved an order of missiles to supply the Japanese F-35s. He approved missiles going to their F-35s, right? So they can arm their planes. And in return, Toyota is going to invest $10 billion in automaking in the U.S., right? It's a big deal. I have no problem with any of that. No problem with it. It's fine. You want to create jobs? You want to have a good relationship with the new Japanese prime minister? You want to, reopen trade negotiations in a positive way? That's great. Go get those jobs, Don. Wonderful. Go get those jobs. Arm those planes. I have no problem with any of that. I have a problem with him being completely lost and being held by the hand by somebody else's prime minister so he doesn't wander aimlessly into a bunch of soldiers that were lined up. It was crazy. He was dancing too. Oh, he's dancing. He's doing his double camel hand job dance. He was doing the dance, just all weird. It was really odd. And in this odd, failing state of mind, he addressed our troops on the USS George Washington. This guy. He talked about his deployment of troops. He talked about a couple other things too, and we'll get into it real quick, but here's some of the stuff he had to say about the troop deployment.
Our people in the service, and people don't care. If we send in our military, if we send in our National Guard, if we send in Space Command, they don't care who the hell it is. They just want to be safe. And we're doing that with all of our cities that are troubled. We have cities that are troubled. We can't have cities that are troubled. And we're sending in our National Guard. And if we need more than the National Guard, we'll send more than the National Guard because we're going to have safe cities. We're not going to have people killed in our cities. And whether people like that or not, that's what we're doing.
He is really uncomfortable. He and Hegseth, it's obvious now, right, that they are very uncomfortable addressing the military because they approached these military addresses as a rally. And every other statement, every other sentence out of Trump's mouth at one of his rallies gets a raucous applause. And he does these pregnant pauses and he says these things that normally would be followed by devotion to the dear leader, and it's just crickets with the military. It was crickets with the generals and the admirals, and it's crickets with these Marines and sailors stationed on the USS George Washington. Just crickets. Crickets. It's so obvious how uncomfortable it is. Out of their element, out of their depth. They have nothing in common. Hegseth and Trump have absolutely nothing in common with those soldiers. Nothing. Doesn't know how to talk to them. Doesn't know how to see them eye to eye on their wavelength. Doesn't know how to relate to them. Can't share any of their experiences, Mr. Bone Spurs. Has no idea what they go through, what kind of responsibility that they have on their shoulders to a man. Can't relate to any of that. And talks to them as if they are the cult at the rally. And it falls short every single time. He said some other things. He talked a lot about the boat strikes in Venezuela, right? He's talking to the military while he's using the military to illegally blow people out of the water. So we got to address it, right? Of course we do. You want to hear what he said? No? Here I go anyway. We're winning it already, the sea. No, that's not me messing up the verbiage, by the way. This is what the man said. We're winning it already, the sea. I mean, the only problem is nobody wants to go into the sea anymore, even the fishing boats. I'm going to give you a second to disseminate that. Complete nonsense. He went on. He said that the radical left had claimed that the strikes had killed fishermen. and not suspected drug smugglers. And to that, he said, submarines don't go fishing. So just to be clear, Mr. Trump, you're saying that fentanyl smugglers from Venezuela heading to the United States are doing so via submarines. That's your claim. Just to be clear. He continues, we're knocking them out one by one, and now we'll stop the drugs coming in by land. Here we go. For many years, the drug cartels have waged war in America, and at long last, we're finally waging war on the cartels. That part right there speaks directly to what I got all hyperbolic about a month ago. When the fishing boat stories arose and they started calling cartels non-state combatants. And I told you they're going to go into America to wage war against the cartels. They're going to do it in Chicago. They're going to do it in LA. They're going to do it in New York. They're going to call a block run by MS-13 all non-state combatants and level it. Kill everyone inside, sort it out later. Here we go. He is telling you. For many years, the drug cartels have waged war in America, and at long last, we're finally waging war on the cartels. He is telling you what he's going to do. He's telling you. He says our ultimate strength doesn't come from equipment. It comes from the men and women and of the rank and file trying to suck up to them. He says it's true. It comes from you people, incredible, good people, good-looking people. Listen to this garbage. Listen to this. He's insane. He continues, too many good-looking people out there. I don't like good-looking people. I never liked good-looking people. I'll be honest with you, and I've never admitted that before. Okay, fine. Fine, you don't like good-looking people. While you denigrate the appearance of political opponents who are women, you denigrate the appearance of the media personalities who are women, press corps who are women. You talk about people's cosmetic surgery. You talk about where you can grab them. Then you fill your cabinet full of Kristi Noem and Tulsi Gabbard and Caroline Leavitt. Your spokespeople, your lawyers, they're all tall, blonde, good-looking women, but you don't care about good-looking people. So we're clear. You don't care. You don't care about that. You don't care about that. So let's just be real clear about where we are with the National Guard deployment to the U.S. cities. Currently, Los Angeles, 4,000 people deployed. 4,000 at maximum. There was 4,000 troops there. D.C. right now, 2,500 troops. Portland, Oregon, it's pending. 400 troops. They have been activated. Will they be deployed? We'll see. Chicago, 500 troops. Pending. The National Guard in Chicago, that's pending. But they've been activated. Will they go into the city itself? Pending. Memphis, they are actively there. 150 federal troops have been deployed in Memphis. Okay? It all hinges around Title 10. He wants to do it elsewhere. He said he wants to do it elsewhere. He needs to protect law enforcement. He needs to be able to execute federal law. That is at the crux of this. That is at the heart of this. Title 32, that gives the governor the option to activate their guard. And then it gives the governor control over the guard. President Trump has no need, no use for Title 32. It's all about Title 10. It's all about his control over the National Guard to help execute the law. That is the wording that all of this hinges on. And the Insurrection Act will allow him to be able to fly right past posse comitatus. By the way, we're coming back for a longer segment. We're coming back with some extra stuff today. Well, I'm not sure how long it'll take. It'll take as long as it takes. Join me. Thanks, guys.
It's time for a quick break. Then we break some more. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things. Brett breaks things because someone has to.
Okay. All right. So, what are the courts saying, right? The Trump administration is arguing that they need the the National Guard in these cities to enforce law and suppress disorder. That is what they're saying. Okay? That is what they're invoking under Title 10 to be able to use the National Guard as he sees fit. Okay? Federal lawyers, people who are suing the movements, I told you all of those that are pending. The lawsuits are basically saying that there is no rebellion, there is no invasion, and there's no impediment. Sorry about that. And there's no impediment of law enforcement in any of these cities. The lawsuits are saying basically Trump is overstating the seriousness in each city, and the local law enforcement and the federal troops like DEA, ICE, CPB, the FBI, they're all able to conduct their business without National Guard deployment. That's what the lawsuits are saying. Trump's two hurdles that he needs to clear is, one, he wants to forego posse comitatus. He wants National Guard and military to perform policing actions in these cities. Crackheads, arrest people, throw them in back of vans. All right? That's what he wants. He also wants to move troops across state lines. These are the two big hurdles. These are what the lawsuits are all about. Okay? Now, his lawsuit in Oregon has developed. It has moved forward. Now, earlier this month, you remember me talking about this judge, Judge Karen Immergut. She is the one that blocked Trump's deployment of Oregon National Guard, right? Activating and deploying the Oregon National Guard to Portland. That's one. She blocked it. The other one she blocked was Trump taking California National Guard and sending them to Oregon. Two things blocked by Immergut. Well, on October 20th, two judges of a 3-judge appellate panel said, you know what? He can move them because we feel that if there was a trial or they should have to explain their actions, that the Trump administration would be able to successfully explain and detail why the National Guard is needed to help law enforcement in these areas. We think they could get there. So we're going to erase Judge Immergut's decision. Well, the dissenting judge, he then requested for the full court, for the full Ninth Circuit, every judge on the Ninth Circuit, to vote to take this up on a larger scale. Not satisfied with the appellate court's decision out of the Ninth Circuit, there was a vote held by all the judges on the Ninth Circuit on whether to take this a step further and uphold temporarily Miss Immergut's decision. And that's what happened. They had a vote in the Ninth Circuit, and those judges voted in a majority to take this up on a grander scale. You think that Trump will be able to prove that he has the right to do this? We're going to give the Trump administration a chance to do just that. We'll hear the arguments. We're going to take this up on a larger scale. And Judge Immergut's two blockages, the two restraining orders from Immergut are upheld for now. They can't move them. That is why in Oregon, those National Guards, the National Guardsmen are active, but not deployed. Not deployed. And none of the Guard from California has yet to go into Portland. Not yet. They're going to hear about it. They're going to talk about it. They're going to let the administration make their case. They're going to let the administration make their case on why they should be there. This is going to be a big one. This is going to be a big one. He's trying it all over the place, but this is where we are in Oregon. This is where we are in Oregon and Portland, which is burning. We showed you those videos of, some of these social media influencers panning the city from a very high view, and you didn't notice any fires, no burning. Basically, law enforcement officials in the area are telling you it's one block. It's one block that is constantly in protest. There are protesters there 24 hours a day. The federal law enforcement is there, and they're, suppressing disorder and protecting federal property. This is ongoing on one block of a giant city. Not on fire. Not on fire. Now, these protests are obviously hyper-focused on the immigration policy, right? Hyper-focused on the immigration policy. That's what a lot of these are about. It's about ICE and CPB not being able to do their job without being assaulted by rioters and protesters. That is the law enforcement that Trump is saying we can't execute. We're unable to execute the law because of the rioters and the protesters preventing CPB and ICE from doing their job. So we need federal troops. It's ICE. It's CPB. It's DHS. DHS has a new rock star, a new superstar. At least he thinks he is. This guy, Gregory Bovino. I don't know if you guys heard of him before. I may have mentioned him just a couple times, but Greg Bovino, he is a high-profile agent in CPB. Okay, high profile. He's the one that goes around unmasked. He goes around unmasked. He is purposefully being high profile. Doesn't wear a mask during operations. When asked about it, Trish McLaughlin, we just talked about her, DHS spokesman, she said, because all the gang members and terrorists who have put bounties on his head and threatened to murder him already know who he is. Tough talk. And she's right, though. She's right. Some gangs have put a price on this guy's head because of the way he goes about his business and the high-profile nature with which he is presented in conjunction with these raids. He is the one, he is the focal point. He is the face on this. You could argue it's Homan, but Homan's not there. He's not on the ground. He's not ground zero for these raids and these arrests and detainments. He's not right there. For that, it's Bovino, this guy Bovino, 30-year veteran of the Border Patrol, 30-year veteran. He's currently serving as the chief patrol agent of the El Centro sector in Southern California, okay? Now, he's gained a little bit of notoriety lately, and his actions as the head of that particular sector, he's come under some scrutiny. Some of his actions are being scrutinized by judges. We'll get there. People within ICE and CPB, they don't like him, really. They don't like him. None of them will speak without anonymity. You know that already. But one former ICE official said Bovino wants to build a brand, a name for himself. Like I'm a bleeping tough guy. Where were these bleeping tough guys under the Biden administration speaking out and demanding reform and change? That's the way I judge a person, he said. That's the way I judge a person. And one official said he's been going rogue. That's his quote. He's been going rogue. What are they talking about? They're talking about one particular raid that was 300 miles away from his purview. Kern County was where it was. 6 hours north of the border. Okay. 300 miles away from where he's supposed to be. He executed Operation Return to Sender. Operation Return to Sender. He did not get approval for Washington from this. Did not get approval. Just went completely rogue. And while doing this, he may have violated some civil liberties. Okay? One ICE agent said, this guy Bovino, he thinks he's a bleeping rock star now. He thinks I think he's a bleeping tool, is what another ICE agent said. That's what another one said. So, Bovino had to show up to court. He had to show up to court because, among other tactics, people got hurt. People got hurt in his tactics in this crackdown. So he's got to go answer for this. He went in front of Judge Sarah L. Ellis in the Federal District Court for the Northern District of Illinois. He went in front of Judge Ellis because one of his raids was in Chicago. He was part of Operation Midway Blitz. That was his baby. So some, constitutional violations in California, and some in Illinois, sprinkle some all over the country. This guy's all over the place. All the major operations he heads up. So he went rogue and, outside of his jurisdiction in Kern County. And then he shows up for Operation Midway Blitz. And in that operation, they used tear gas in a neighborhood where children were getting together for a Halloween parade. Yeah, tear gassed them. Didn't warn any of the citizens before they began tear gassing them. Didn't warn anybody. And some of his agents were, as they're leaving the scene, were throwing tear gas canisters out the window as they fled, as they left, as the maneuver changed, as they were Oscar Mike on the move. They're throwing tear gas canisters out the window. Not good. There was some video of it. Whoop. Let me get that video.
We're citizens, terrorizers, traffickers,
Watch
let
him.
the go. Where is my people?
And boom. See that? Somebody just shouting at him as he's standing just tosses a huge tear gas canister at the feet of some people standing by, and that person's screaming, the protesters. Just casually uncorks it, tosses it over. Well, Judge Sarah L. Ellis wanted to see him, wanted to talk to him, and he had to come out, and people were there to greet him at the courthouse.
Chief, how you feeling? Here you go!
Yeah, how you feeling? How you feeling, Chief? As they scream, lock him up, lock him up, lock him up. Now, at this, at this hearing, the judge didn't give him much of a chance to speak. She did all the talking. She did all the talking. And she frequently referred back to a temporary restraining order that she had gone forth with, that prevented the use of tear gas like this. Everything he did was in violation of a restraining order that she had submitted. And she berated him about it. She let him have it. And he couldn't really say much. But to his credit, what he did say was complicit. When asked with simple questions that needed his response, he commonly said, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. When asked if he was on the same page with the judge and what she expected out of him, he said, I understand what you're saying, Your Honor. We're on the same page, and we will abide by the TRO, the temporary restraining order. And then he went back about his job. Then he went about his business, right? Nothing happened to him, not yet. We'll see. The judge making him, adhere to her restraining order, but he went off about his business. He is trying to be the new Holman. That's what people within CPB are saying. He's trying to be the new Holman. He's trying to be the new face of the immigration policy. We had video of him. There was just too much cussing, but we had video of him leaving the court. He did this weird thing. There was some CPB vehicles. He got in one of them and did this thing. He did these this weird hand gesture, obviously military gestures to say round up and head out or something. It looked really weird, really forced, and just overly dramatic, like he's trying to regain some of his authority after the judge dressed him down. It was really, really weird, but we couldn't even show it because so many people were cussing at him. The whole thing was like beep, so we didn't show it, but he goes back to work. Keep an eye on this guy, Bovino. Keep an eye on him. He is now the new face of these big crackdowns, and there's going to be more Operation Midway Blitz style crackdowns. How do I know that? Because the administration has told ICE, we're going to replace some of your leaders. As a matter of fact, months ago, Steve Miller told the heads of ICE, and there's 25 ICE field offices across the country. So that's 25 leaders of these field offices that Stephen Miller told personally, you need to step it up. At the time of that meeting, ICE was arresting around 1,800 people a day. You remember his quota? 3,000. That's where you need to be. 3,000. Or some of your heads will roll. We're here now. Heads are rolling now. At least 12 of the 25 leaders of these field offices are being replaced by CPB officials, heads of their units. Why CPB? Because the administration likes the optics of CPB operations. They're saying quite simply, the mentality is CPB does what they're told. And the administration thinks ICE isn't getting the job done, so CPB will do it. And on the heels of this will be more Operation Midway Blitz, more Black Hawk helicopters descending on apartment buildings and neighborhoods, more heavy weaponry with faces masked, pulling people out, more, bigger, bigly, quickly. That's more on Trump's brand. So less ICE, more CPB. All about that optics game. All about that optics game. Corey Lewandowski, he put the list together. Him and Stephen Miller, they put the list together. And it's funny because we just talked about Bovino. The Trump administration has increasingly turned to Bovino to oversee Border Patrol operations targeting immigrants in major U.S. cities. They're turning to him more and more because they like the way this guy does business. They like his style. They like him tossing casually tear gas canisters at protesters who are obviously at least 10 or 15 feet away from them, judging by the video that you just saw. Obviously no threat to him or his officers, and he just casually gets some tear gas. Get a face full of that. You want to cuss at me? You want to get angry at me within my, within my sight? You get a tear gas canister. No big deal. And here's the thing about Bovino. He doesn't report to the head of CPB. He doesn't report to the CPB commissioner or the head of ICE or no. He talks and reports directly to Kristi Noem. He's got her ear. They're calling him the Border Patrol Commander at Large. Kristi Noem called him that recently. The Border Patrol Commander at Large. So, back of the envelope, less ICE because they're too light-handed, right? They're not getting the job done. The optics aren't there. The numbers aren't there. More CPB, more big guns, more Black Hawk helicopters, more agents descending on neighborhoods in military-style raids, more Bovino, more tear gas canisters, more civil rights injustices, more crapping on the Constitution, just more in general. That is the identity of the new DHS. That is the identity of this immigration policy. Very Trumpian. Bovino's their guy. You're going to see more videos like that, more gas, more Black Hawks, more people getting roughed up. You're going to see more and more and more. We're going to be off tomorrow. We'll be back Friday, probably with a longer show just like this one. I can't wait to get back with you then. Have a good one.